The moment I saw Margaret Peaton standing in my driveway, that smug, self-satisfied smirk on her face told me everything I needed to know. She had crossed a line she couldn't uncross. Behind her, a young couple wandered across my grandfather's lake cabin property, snapping cheerful photos as if they owned the place. A real estate agent gestured toward my private dock, raving about charming rustic features. And there it was, planted boldly in my front lawn, right beside the weathered garden gnomes my late wife had placed 20 years ago, a bright red sold sign. "Tom," Margaret cooed, voice dripping with saccharine sweetness, "I'm so glad you could make it for the final walkthrough. The new owners are thrilled about all the modernization potential." I took a deliberate sip from my coffee mug. It read, "Lake life means leave me alone, and let silence hang so heavy it press against everyone's ears." The real estate agent shifted nervously. The young couple stopped smiling. "Finally," I said, calm and deliberate, the same tone that had guided me through 35 years as a commercial pilot. "That's fascinating, Margaret. There's just one small problem. This property isn't for sale." Her smirk faltered for a heartbeat before she composed herself. "Oh, Tom, there must be some misunderstanding. The HOA received official documentation claiming the property was abandoned. We followed proper channels." I dialed my lawyer without breaking eye contact. "Robert," I said, "I need you at the cabin. Bring the fraud investigation paperwork." Margaret's face drained of color as I produced my deed, driver's license, and 15 years of paid property tax receipts. Within minutes, the showing dissolved. The young couple apologized profusely and fled. Margaret retreated to her golf cart, muttering something about property values. But I knew this wasn't over. Margaret had been terrorizing Pine Ridge shores ever since she became HOA president 2 years prior. Once a retired etiquette instructor from the city, she had arrived with grandiose visions, determined to turn our laid-back lake community into a luxury lifestyle magazine spread. She wrote a 70-page rule book dictating everything from kayak colors to hammock angles, and she made it her mission to enforce it obsessively. I became her special project the day she spotted me fishing off my dock in a vest with a single tear. "Mr. Greer," she said, voice crisp, "torn clothing sends a wrong message about our community." From then on, absurd citations poured in, unregistered pine cones, excessively reflective sunlight, antisocial distance at potlucks. Drones appeared outside my windows. Bradley, her nephew, clumsily admitted filming my interior for documentation. And then came the Ford Committee on Lakeside Optimization letter, declaring my property abandoned for my alleged failure to maintain adequate full-time presence. When I showed it to Robert, he laughed until coffee nearly spattered across his desk. "Fraud. Plain and simple," he said. 2 weeks later, while I was away, Margaret escalated again. She listed my cabin online, complete with interior photos and false claims that I had abandoned the property. She scheduled open houses, posing as an authorized community representative. That was a scene in my driveway, her charade collapsing in real time. The sheriff, the real estate agent, and my lawyer quickly intervened. Within 72 hours, Margaret Peaton faced a cease and desist, a restraining order, and a criminal investigation for fraud, impersonation, and attempted grand theft. The listings vanished. Her downfall revealed another opportunity. Her house sat at the only road entrance to our side of the lake. Everyone had to pass it daily. I quietly formed an LLC, Serenity Shores Holdings, and weeks later purchased Margaret's home to cover her mounting legal debts. When she saw me on her porch at closing, her face cycled from pink to crimson to royal purple. "You can't do this," she sputtered. "I need that road to reach my aunt's cabin." "Funny you mention property law," I replied calmly. Turns out the easement had expired 5 years prior. I offered her a new easement, $5,000 a month, with a strict behavioral clause. She went ballistic. I spent the following weeks transforming her former driveway into a peaceful meditation garden, installing a 10-foot fence, motorized gate, gravel berms, wildflowers, and no trespassing signs. Margaret melted down repeatedly as I enforced my rights. The neighbors? Quietly cheering. Eventually, she pleaded for mercy at the intercom. "Tom, I'll apologize," she said. "Misunderstanding." I echoed. You tried to sell my house, forged government documents, flew a drone into my living room. That's a crime spree. We took it to court. Her prescriptive easement claim crumbled under a mountain of evidence: fraudulent documents, drone footage, online listings, and testimony from neighbors. The judge ruled in my favor, awarding $78,000 in legal fees, referring her for investigation, and ordering her to attend a boundary seminar. Margaret's perfectly composed, mask-shattered. Purple-faced, she stumped her foot like a petulant child. I struck a final deal: $50,000 in cash plus 6 months of daily apology letters, each 500 words of reluctant humility. She took it. Margaret's reign of terror ended. Her removal from the HOA board was celebrated 27-1. I converted her former home into a vacation retreat, Serenity Shores Retreat, complete with a library of the crime novels she once hated. The meditation garden became a community haven. Now, I spend quiet mornings reading, coffee in hand, the grass at a perfect 4.5 inches, watching the lake stretch endlessly. Life is good when you know how to handle a Karen who's gone too far. Patience, documentation, and subtle, sweet revenge. And sometimes, just sometimes, I watch Margaret mutter angrily at the neighbor's fence, while peace reigns at last in Pine Ridge Shores.